Good morning and welcome to the program. It's Talk Sports on Global Television. I am the king of sport, ready to dish out all the big stories making it round in the exciting world of sport. And one big story everybody's talking about is our darling Super Eagles of Nigeria. They were emphatic last night as they beat the Wild Dogs of Guinea-Bissau 1-0 to qualify to the next stage of the African Cup of Nations. We're talking about the 34th edition, and definitely Nigeria being 3 times African champions. We're looking for the 4th title in a row. Let's see if the Super Eagles can make it happen. But last night the Super Eagles were super, even though lots of people had different things to say about the Super Eagles attack line, the defense, the midfield, and also the goalkeeping department, where Nwabali was exceptional as usual. At least finally, I think we've got a #1 goalkeeper for the Super Eagles. So the big story says Opana Sangante scored a clinical half volley in Guinea-Bissau's AFCON match against Nigeria, but it was the wrong net. Yes, it was the wrong net. He scored an own goal yesterday. The Guinea-Bissau midfielder lashed the ball over his own goalkeeper to give Nigeria a 1-0 scoreline lead in the 36th minute into the game. Sanganet looked dismayed as the Nigerian players wheeled away in celebration, knowing his side needed a win, but it was the Super Eagles. He had been marking Victor Osimhen and did so effectively, besides the stroke of misfortune, which saw his missed kick end up on the wrong side of the bar, which meant Nigeria had the 1-0 victory last night, and it was a beautiful one for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. But meanwhile, if there was any shred of comfort to be had, it was that Osimhen, the African Footballer of the Year, who scored 31 goals for Napoli last season, would likely have done the same if Sanganet had missed that chance, because the ball definitely was coming towards Victor Osimhen. So Nigeria yesterday were 1-0 winners, and meant we're second in our group. And I hope my producer would remember to put the pictures of the match between Nigeria and Guinea-Bissau so that the sport fans can have a feel of the jerseys Nigeria won yesterday and how what played out in yesterday's encounter. All right, just to also let you know, it wasn't just Nigeria that was in action yesterday at the African Cup of Nations. We had Cote d'Ivoire also in action, but Cote d'Ivoire, very sad story for the Ivorians, who are the host nation of the 34th edition of the African Nations Cup. Ivory Coast AFCON hopes hang in a balance after they suffered a Christian 4-0 thrashing against the relative minors Equatorial Guinea. The host nation were swept aside by one of the tournament surprise packages, and now depend on other results for qualification. That's talking about Cote d'Ivoire not coming to the party at all, losing by as much as 4-0 against Equatorial Guinea. But the main story is that the Super Eagles of Nigeria qualified for the next round of the African Cup of Nations, courtesy of their 1-0 win over Guinea-Bissau. And it was an own goal after that cross was swept in by Simon Moses. The Guinea-Bissau player just hit the ball into his own net. All right, moving on, other big stories. Says Egypt. Yes, Egypt were also in action. They played out a 2-2 draw with Cape Verde, and meant Egypt has also qualified for the next stage of the tournament. And Egypt, without their talisman, Mo Salah, were able to get a 2-2 draw against Cape Verde. A very, very interesting matchup there between Cape Verde and the Pharaohs of Egypt, which ended 2-2. Sad story coming as regards the Nations Cup is the fact that 6 Guinean fans died. That's the story coming out from Cote d'Ivoire. Very sad commentary there. The Guinean Football Federation have called for calm as 6 of their fans had died. All right, we'll go for a very quick break. Let's go for a quick break. When we return from the break, the more news as regards the African Cup of Nations, we get to hit you more. Stay with us. All right, we're still in the celebration mood of the Super Eagles beating Guinea-Bissau by 1-0 yesterday and automatically qualifying for the next stage of the African Cup of Nations. So it means Guinea-Bissau is out, just Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea qualifying from Group A of their group, and meaning that we're going to be waiting for, we'll be playing the group, the winners of the next group, while Guinea-Bissau will be facing the second person in the opposite group. That's what's going to be playing out. But the Super Eagles, congratulations one more time to the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the fans across border as we celebrate the Super Eagles 1-0 victory against Guinea-Bissau last night. All right, we also told you that Egypt, also in the news, they played out a 2-2 draw with Cape Verde, and also means they're moving to the next stage of the tournament. Another story that it's very sad story this time has to do with Guinea. Talking about Guinean fans, 6 Guinean fans died in white celebrations. That's a big story there. The story says the Guinean Football Federation have called for calm after 6 supporters died celebrating the country's victory over Gambia at the African Cup of Nations. Igbo Camara scored the only goal for Guinea in a 1-0 narrow win on Friday, boosting their chances of making it to the knockout stage of the tournament. The victory led to fans in the Guinean capital of Conakry taking to the streets to celebrate in cars and motorbikes. Agency France Press reported that 3 people died when 2 vehicles collided at high speed, while others were injured in road accidents. I hope my producer can show us the pictures of the Guinean fans so that we can follow the story properly. All right, still looking at other stories making the rounds. The country's FA have appealed for fans to celebrate in measured fashion to avoid further tragedy. Guinean legend Pascal Fendendo, who helped the national team reach 3 straight quarterfinals between 2004 and 2008, joined the appeals for calm. Fernando claimed that the news of fan deaths could destabilize the team and urged the public to support the country, but do not do anything to kill each other. Yeah, those are the Guineans. Guinea are currently second in the AFCON group on 3 points, 1 point behind leaders and defending champions Senegal. All right. Meanwhile, 5 times winners Cameroon lie third with 1 point, while Gambia at bottom, having yet to get off the mark. All right, some stories are coming concerning Jurgen Klopp, talking about the coach of Liverpool. Mohamed Salah is planning to return to Merseyside to be treated by Liverpool club doctors after an injury suffered playing for Egypt at the African Cup of Nations, but he could still feature in the tournament in Ivory Coast if he recovers in time. Salah limped off in the first half of Pharaoh's 2-2 draw with Ghana on Thursday night, and despite initially clutching his hamstring, the Egypt FA confirmed that the 31-year-old had suffered a strain in his posterior muscle. The forward sidestepped any questions of grilling with Egyptian press on Saturday, but Klopp said on Sunday night that Salah is likely to be treated by Liverpool doctors. But last night we saw Salah celebrating Egypt's dramatic draw yesterday. So it means Salah is still very much at AFCON there. You can see the Pharaohs of Egypt talisman there, Mohamed Salah, celebrating the qualification of the Egyptian national team, the Pharaohs of Egypt. I think they've won the Cup of Nations 4 times. So it tells you the Egyptian team is a very traditional team, one of the big teams in African football. All right. Away from the Cup of Nations, let's do some European news there. And Ronaldo, talking about Brazilian Ronaldo, is in the news this morning. Yes, let's tell you that the Brazilian Ronaldo has named who he thinks the 8 greatest players of all time are Ronaldo Nazario, who is now 47 years. That's the man on your screen there. Enjoyed a great career from 1999 to 2011, playing for the likes of Barcelona, Inter Milan, Real Madrid, and AC Milan. While he also scored 62 times in 98 games for Brazil. The former striker is one of the most iconic footballers of his generation and has since tried his hands in football ownership with Real Valladolid in Spain and his boyhood club Brazilian side Cruzeiro. And speaking back in 2022 to The Guardian, Ronaldo, who netted games in his career and also won 2 Ballon d'Or awards, named 8 greatest players of all time. However, he left one huge name out of the list. All right, the Brazilian snubbed Cristiano Ronaldo in favor of a long-time rival Lionel Messi, and despite the Portuguese icon having scored 891 goals, he was left out by the Brazilian Ronaldo in terms of players, greatest players of all time. Let's look at other names. Ronaldo picked as some of his great players of all time. Let's look at other players Ronaldo has picked as the greatest players of all time. Aside Messi, he picked Diego Maradona, he picked Pele, Johan Cruyff, Frank Beckenbauer. All are the players Ronaldo picked. All right, let's move to the next talking point. We're talking. Yeah, okay, you can see the list of players there. Diego Maradona, Pele, Johan Cruyff, Frank Beckenbauer, who is now late, Marco van Basten of Holland, Lionel Messi of Argentina, Ronaldinho of Brazil, then we've got himself, Ronaldo. Those are some of the great players. He feels that these are the 8 greatest players of all time. You can't argue with him. Those players are truly great players. All right, let's move. Bayern is in the news this morning. Bayern Munich is in the news. It's talking about going for a player called Trippier. Kieran Trippier is in the news. Bayern Munich are expected to have another go at attempting Newcastle. Okay, yes, Newcastle United. We were looking at you. That's the man on your screen there. Bayern Munich are expected to have another go attempting Newcastle United to sell Kieran Trippier before the week is out. Newcastle have rejected a loan and a low-ball offer from Bayern, who are juggling right back target with Paris Saint-Germain Nordi Mukele. Sportsmail understands that Trippier is open to linking up again with former Tottenham teammates Eric Dyer and Harry Kane, but the price would have to be right. So let's see if this man will be moving to Bayern Munich in a couple of days' time. Already we have 2 Englishmen in Bayern already. We've got the man called Harry Kane and also Eric Dyer in Bayern. Would he make him the 3rd Englishman to join Bayern Munich this season? All right, let's talk about this man, Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel is in the news this morning. Yes, talking about the coach of Bayern. The big story says Thomas Tuchel launched an explosive rant at his Bayern Munich stars after they suffered a dismal 1-0 defeat at home to Werder Bremen on Sunday. The German Giants have enjoyed a mixed campaign under the former Chelsea boss, as despite qualifying with ease from their Champions League group, they are now languishing 7 points behind Bayern Leverkusen at the top of the Bundesliga. This means that Bayern are in danger of missing out on the title for the first time since 2011-2012 season, having won it for 11 straight seasons. Wow. And Harry Kane's 26 goals have helped to drag Bayern along through poor performances, but there were increasing murmurs of discontent surrounding Tuchel before yesterday's loss to their 14th place opponent. So who knows, maybe this man might be sacked soon from Bayern Munich. That's another talking point that we'll be looking at. Let's give you more big stories before we end up doing analysis concerning Nigeria's match and other matches yesterday at the African Cup of Nations. All right, big story. Let's go to AC Milan is in the news this morning. Big story coming from Milan. The story says AC Milan want to sign Newcastle striker Callum Wilson. That's the big story. The AC Milan is in the news this morning. Yes, that's the man on your screen. AC Milan want to sign Newcastle striker Callum Wilson on a permanent deal this month. Mail Sport understands that the Serie A club are interested in taking the England star to Italy, and he would be open to talks if an offer was accepted. Milan have seen a loan approach for Wilson from Atletico Madrid be rejected by Newcastle, who insist he will not be leaving St. James's Park in January. However, were Milan to present a permanent package at the right price, then there could yet be movement. Wilson, who is 31, has 18 months to run on his contract, and any sizable offer would leave Newcastle with a big decision to make. Meanwhile, Eddie Howe would be determined to keep his number 9, who will return from a 4-week calf layoff this month. Okay, so let's see if this young man will be leaving Newcastle for AC Milan. We've got lots of stories concerning AC Milan, the red and blacks of Serie A. All right, this story is still concerning AC Milan's goalkeeper. He's in the news this one. AC Milan goalkeeper Michael Maignan has taken to social media to share his statement after being targeted with alleged racist abuse during their game over the weekend. Maignan and his teammate walked off the pitch during the first half of the Serie A clash with Udinese on Saturday evening. Due to the vile abuse he was receiving, Maignan left the pitch shortly after his team had taken the lead, indicating to referee Fabio Maresca he had heard racist abuse from the crowd at the Stadio Friuli. Maignan has now taken to social media to call out those who he believes were enabling the behavior on Saturday night. All right, racism not allowed in any form. Really very sad commentary there when you hear racist chants during football matches. And the funny thing, these same black players give them joy when they score, when they make great saves. All right, let's move on to the next talking point. Infantino is in the news. We're talking FIFA news now. FIFA is in the news this morning. Big story coming from FIFA Glasshouse. The big story says that FIFA President Gianni Infantino has called for harsher penalties, including automatic forfeits against the teams whose fans commit racial abuse. Following two incidents on Saturday, Coventry City's Casey Palmer was allegedly subject to a racist gesture during their championship game against Sheffield Wednesday, while AC Milan's players walked off in solidarity after Michael Maignan reported monkey noises from a section of Udinese supporters. In a post on his X, Infantino said he believed that there had to be a sterner punishment for clubs whose fans are racially abusive. The statement published on behalf of FIFA read, "The events that took place in Udine and Sheffield on Saturday are totally abhorrent and completely unacceptable." Yes, we hope that FIFA will do something more than just give these clubs their fines and point deduction, probably ban them from European competition. Probably that will make them stop abusing players racially, especially black and Hispanic players for that matter. All right, let's move on for other big stories here. Yes, Cristiano Ronaldo is in the news this morning. Yes, CR7 has something to say this morning on Talk Sports. The big story talks about Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo has said that Football Individuals Award no longer hold the weight that they once had. Yes, that's what CR7 is saying. He says Cristiano Ronaldo has said that Football's Individual Awards no longer hold the weight that they once held. Lionel Messi picked up the FIFA's best prize last week, and many were surprised that he did so over the treble-winning Erling Haaland. Messi also won the Ballon d'Or after his World Cup triumph, but FIFA's prize was awarded over a period that did not include that. Ronaldo, speaking after winning 3 prizes at the Globe Soccer Award, hinted that Messi was not a deserving winner. Ronaldo added that he was unlikely to be running for any major awards in the future as he now plays in Saudi Arabia. All right, that's Ronaldo there taking a dig at his eternal rival Messi, saying Messi did not deserve the FIFA award he won last week. Very, very, very interesting. Every time Ronaldo Messi, the rivalry would never end, so to say. All right, let's go to Spain. We've got Real Madrid in the news this morning. Real Madrid, Almeria is the story we are talking about this morning. Real Madrid is in the news. The big story says a Dani Carvajal striker in the 9th minute of stoppage time rescued Real Madrid, ending them a 3-2 comeback win at home against bottom side Almeria on Sunday in a frantic La Liga tussle that was marked by VAR controversy. Lowly Almeria, who remained winless after 21 La Liga matches this season, grabbed a 2-goal lead with goals from Lagi Ramazani and Edgar Gonzalez in the first half, but Real Madrid reduced the deficit in the 56th minute with a Jude Bellingham penalty awarded for handball after a lengthy VAR check that Almeria had Sergio Arribas' effort ruled out a little later after another long VAR check, with the referee Francisco Meso ruling there was an infringement in the build-up when Almeria midfielder Dion Lopi caught Bellingham in the face. Meanwhile, 5 minutes later, Monsieur first ruled out a Real Madrid equalizer for Vinicius Junior's handball before awarding the goal after deciding it was off the shoulder following another VAR check. So, yeah, that's the Galacticos winning 3-2 there. And that's the biggest teams in La Liga, talking about Real Madrid and Barcelona. Okay, so we've got Barcelona in the news next. Let's look at stories concerning Barcelona. We're done with the Galacticos talking about Real Madrid. It's now time to talk about the Catalan giant, Barcelona. The big story says Ferran Torres has scored a hat-trick as Barcelona won a 6-goal thriller away at Betis to massively ease the pressure on coach Xavi. It wasn't just the win. This was one of Barcelona's best performances of the season, and with two 16-year-olds on the pitch from the start, both had superb games. Lamine Yamal was a constant threat for Betis, hit the post in the first half and helped Torres with a hat-trick. Very amazing. That said, Coach Xavi there. In the center of the defense was Paul Kubaresi, who turned 17 on Monday, never put on a foot wrong in 80 minutes before coming off with cramp. Elsewhere, Frankie de Jong looked back to his best in the midfield, while João Felix came off the bench to score the all-important third Barcelona goal. So now we know that that's the man there, João Felix there. So Barcelona also doing great things now, trying to ease the pressure on their coach Xavi. All right, let's talk about one more team from the La Liga before we go for a quick break. Yes, we've got three great teams there, Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid. So we're talking about Atletico Madrid and other big teams. But the surprise package for the La Liga this season has been Girona. Yes, that's the team we're talking about next. Girona in the news this morning. Let's let you know that Girona forward Artem Dovski scored one of the quickest hat-tricks in La Liga has ever witnessed in a 5-1 win over Sevilla. The striker hit a dead barrage between just 6 minutes into to draw level with Jude Bellingham at the top of the league's scoring chart with 14 goals. We're talking about Girona now is the team we're looking at this morning. Girona's win keeps them top of the La Liga above Real Madrid and piles more pressure on Sevilla, whose nightmare season seizes them 17th on the La Liga table, 1 point clear of the drop zone. Sevilla had gone ahead through Isaac Romero, but they had no reply for Dovski's goals, which came between 13th and the 19th minute. And it was Girona winning by 5 goals to 1. All right, we'll go for a quick break. When we return from the break, we'll talk some tennis news and we'll be doing analysis of Nigeria's game yesterday and other matches at the 34th edition of the African Cup of Nations. All this after this break. Stay with us. right, welcome back from the break. We're still talking sport on Global Television, and we've got lots of sports stories to talk. We just take some tennis news, then we move on to give you highlights of the action at the African Cup of Nations, so that you see your darling Super Eagles in action and other big teams at the Cup of Nations. But I've got some stories in the talking tennis before we give you that piece of action at the African Cup of Nations, trying to get the stories concerning the Australian Open making the rounds. Let's look at this story concerning tennis. And one man, his name Zverev, is in the news for many reasons, and all the great happenings in the world of tennis. And that's talking tennis now. We've got the story that says the Australian Open appears to be keeping its distance. Yes, that's the man there. The Australian Open appears to be keeping its distance from Alexander Zverev's upcoming domestic abuse trial, refusing to comment on the allegations as the German staged a narrow victory over Cameron Norrie on Monday. Zverev, who edged past Norrie in a 5-set thriller to reach Australian Open quarterfinals, has been accused of domestic abuse by his ex-girlfriend Brenda Pate and will go trial in May. The Berlin Criminal Court confirmed last week. According to the court statement, the reigning Olympic champion is accused of physically abusing a woman and damaging her health during an argument. He also stands accused of choking her against a wall just days before proposing to her. Throughout Zverev's 4-hour epic against the British number one in Melbourne, tournament officials, post-match interviews and broadcasts refused to comment on the allegations of the trial. It's so sad. They look good together, but it tells you crazy things happen behind the scene. All right, let's talk some boxing before we give you the footage of all that's playing out in the African Cup of Nations. We're doing boxing, and Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou is in the news this morning. We're talking boxing already. Let's say that Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou, that's Tyson Fury and Ngannou are the two persons we're talking about. Those are the men on your picture there. Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou crossed paths for the first time since their battle of the baddest clash in Saudi Arabia last year. The pair were seen shaking hands at the Joy Awards, which took place at the Boulevard in Riyadh on Saturday. And Fury, who was wearing one of his custom-made Navid Selimani suit, joked about Ngannou's size after the exchange. Meanwhile, the former UFC heavyweight champion smiled and gave a thumbs up to the camera before turning back around. The 2024 Joy Awards were organized by Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority. All right, that's talking boxing. There is now time for us to come back. Let's look at the actions that went down at the African Cup of Nations. The 4 matches that were played yesterday, including that of your darling Super Eagles of Nigeria. After seeing the 4 matches, then hopefully you'll have Charles or Haji in the studio so that we can x-ray the matches. But let's enjoy what the Cup of Nations has offered to us this time around.
A decisive game in Group B here at Alassane Ouattara Stadium. Welcome everyone. It is Ghana against Mozambique. Can he put them in the lead here? Early on against Mozambique. Yes, he can. Chris Hughton likes it. Jordan Ayew. 2-0 Ghana. The Black Stars are on their way to second place in this group. Lower this time. There's the flick on it again onto the roof of the net. Katamo against the 40. Mozambique are back in this. Taking all the set pieces for Mozambique. Decent one to the back post. Oh, it's a goal! Reynildo scores! This is great news for Cote d'Ivoire. They're celebrating.
They should celebrate, you know.
Final whistle. Ghana are as good as out.
And what a clash we have for you. This is Group B of the Cape Verde come up against. Ryan Mendes does really well. The ball comes to that man who's looking super dangerous. They're trying to get a shot in. Oh, there's a goal! Cape Verde have scored! Unbelievable! This is remarkable! The Blue Sharks have done it again! It's the man! Unbelievable! Sisu with the corner. Comes over. Perfectly delivered. Chance for a shot. No, it's not a shot. Oh, that's a beautiful one too! Look at that for an excellent shot! And it's in the back of the net! It's a goal! It's the man! Unbelievable! He's only just come on, and look what he's done. It's execute. That's a high ball over the top. It's there! It's there! It's in the back of the net! They've done it! Egypt have scored! Did he touch that? Well, he definitely scored. There's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't look. Goal Egypt! Goal Egypt! Egypt! And it's the Blue Sharks who can't let go now. The ball comes across, great save. Oh, that's a chance. It's in the back of the net. It's just top draw stuff there from Texera. Best team, the runners-up behind Cape Verde.
Welcome everyone to Abidjan. It's early evening if the host nation are to advance them. Well, we wait for the countdown and off we go. Equatorial Guinea in the red, 4 points in the bag. Cote d'Ivoire this game now. Capo into the penalty area. This might be a chance. It's a goal. It's an excellent goal from Emilio Nsue, number 4 in this tournament for Equatorial Guinea's captain. Keeps it going. Ball across. Fofana comes in. Equalizer. So can they get a second here? They can. Oh my word. Pablo Ganet. Oh, we could be on for another one. Miranda Nsue, number 3. Oh my word. Unbelievable. Emilio Nsue with yet another. He's got taking it into the Ivorian half. Punched away. Number 4. The goalkeeper couldn't hold on. And the Ivorian. There it is. It's all over. 4-0 to Equatorial Guinea.
Big showdown. Guinea-Bissau want to finish off on a high. They want to try and get themselves a win that they've never managed to do before. And set up for a long-range shot. Not a bad one as well. And there's the long ball coming over the top. Picks up on the left-hand side. A great opportunity. Surely it's in the back of the net. Oh, wow! And it's an own goal. Smashed in. Crashed in by Opa Sangante. And Victor Osimhen couldn't even get anywhere near it. It was already blasted in. He would have probably done the same. There's the delivery. Victor, oh, it's a beautiful delivery. The header wasn't on target for Victor Osimhen. And a little bit lucky there, Chikwueze. That's a great ball. Moses Simon, can he get past the goalkeeper? Mendes comes to the rescue. Go in search of an equaliser. And the Nigerian defence left. There's a chance, there's a chance for a shot! Nigeria moved through to the knockout stages.
All right, action are plenty there at the Cup of Nations. The Super Eagles missing a host of chances, and Victor Osimhen, I don't know if he left his scoring boot or his scoring head in Napoli before coming to the Cup of Nations, missing glorious chances, which he would naturally will put in if he was donning the blue jersey of Napoli. We hope that at this knockout stages, he's going to find his scoring form back because we need him scoring goals as we reach the business end of the African Cup of Nations. This is when even half a goal means a lot. It means you're going to qualify for the next stage of action. And the Super Eagles probably not at their full best, but thank God they were able to run away with that 1-0 victory. We saw the Black Stars of Ghana and also Mozambique. That was a very titanic battle. There are no small teams anymore in the African continent. And we saw the host nation, Didier Drogba, couldn't believe his eyes as the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire were beating blue, black, and any color you like. 4-0 was what they were beaten by Equatorial Guinea. Very, very disturbing for a team, a traditional team like Cote d'Ivoire. We expected much from them. And being host nations, it was a very sad commentary. And let's see if they'll be lucky to qualify as from best losers. Then who knows? Their fortune might just turn around and they might just begin to find their form. That's all the clips we have for you as regards what played out at the African Cup of Nations. We're hoping we'll be able to join Coach Chris Onokweku, who is in Cote d'Ivoire, but we've not been able to get across to him to see if he can give us any update as regards the Super Eagles after their victory last night. And we're hoping that they're going to, for the players that got injured that couldn't make the team, we hope that they'll be back in good health before the knockout stages matches come calling. All right, that's about the match we can take. But I think we're hoping to see if Coach Christian Okweku will be joining us live from Cote d'Ivoire. So let's just go for a quick break. If he is able to join us, then we'll take him. Then we're going to be calling it a wrap on today's edition of the program, Talk Sports. All right, welcome back from that break. And while we're at break, we're still getting messages on our media handles, social media handles, saying we want a repeat of that Nigeria's matchup with the White Dogs of Guinea-Bissau. All right, so because of the calls for that, I will give you a slice of Nigeria's match with Guinea-Bissau one more time. And then when we come back, we'll be wrapping up the program. Stay with us.
Big showdown. Guinea-Bissau want to finish off on a high. They want to try and get themselves a win that they've never managed to do before. And set up for a long-range shot. Not a bad one as well. And there's the long ball coming over the top. Picks up on the left-hand side. A great opportunity. Surely it's in the back of the net. Oh, wow! And it's an own goal. Smashed in. Crashed in by Opa Sangante. And Victor Osimhen couldn't even get anywhere near it. It was already blasted in. He would have probably done the same. There's the delivery. Victor, oh, it's a beautiful delivery. The header wasn't on target for Victor Osimhen. And a little bit lucky there, Chukwueze. That's a great ball. Moses Simon, can he get past the goalkeeper? Mendes comes to the rescue. Go in search of an equaliser. And the Nigerian defence left. There's a chance for a shot. Nigeria moved through.